Hey everybody, welcome to the newest episode of Capital Combat. The name says it all. I'm Hakeem
Rob,
and today we're going to recap last weekend's action, which had Manny Pacquiao in his return after almost a year layoff against Pacman-Rios. We'll also recap the big fight over in England, which had Froch defending his IBF title versus Froch-Groves. And we're going to start off with the Pacquiao-Rios fight, because if you watched our preview video, which happened here, we kind of pretty much laid out how the fight was going to go down. So we're just going to touch on what we liked from what we saw. Go ahead, Rob.
All right, so after a year layoff, after Manny Pacquiao got sensationally knocked out by Juan Manuel Marquez.
Man, they know that already. They keep running that into the ground. Yes, he got knocked out. Let's talk about how he looked after he came back.
Okay, so the question was, how is Manny going to look after that knockout? And he looked great. Now, he fought a come-forward fighter in Pacman-Rios, but I saw some things that you don't normally see him utilize. Like, he definitely utilized lateral movement.
Oh, yeah.
And if you look at, when we looked at his pad work with Freddie Roach, he touches Rios to the body, and every time he threw that a jab, he kind of went right, but kind of touched him to the body.
No, you're right, because he's southpaw.
Yeah, well, he still went right. He went right and hit him with the left. A straight left. It was to the body or it was straight to the chin. And anytime that he got caught against the ropes, he ducked and weaved in once Rios threw one of his favorite punches, which is that left hook. Go right under, return fire. Last thing, because Rios had a high close guard, he utilized going around the punches with that with a looping left, which opened Rios up, and he just fired away like 3 or 4 shots right after that.
Yeah, this was the perfect foe for Manny Pacquiao to look spectacular against, which he did. The only thing we could have asked for was for a stoppage, and I mean, let's be real, Pacman-Rios is a tough guy. It's gonna take a lot to stop him, and
that's right.
Maybe the Manny of like 2008, 2010 probably would have stopped him, but this is the Manny Pacquiao right now, and he still looked pretty good for what he did. Like Rob said, he gave great angles. He touched him up. I mean, it was pretty much a boxing lesson from someone who's not known to give boxing lessons. Manny Pacquiao came up as that seek and destroy type guy, but we saw a masterful boxing performance from him this past Saturday, which you can watch again this Saturday, November 30th. And
that's right.
Yeah, I just got to get my date straight. It's getting late, guys. I'm sorry. But see it again. Watch what we're saying, because it was a great performance. Now, let's not get too far ahead of ourselves and start making some grandiose predictions. Let's see who he goes against next, see if he can keep that streak going, and we're excited to see what happens from there.
That's right.
Now, we're going to talk about the title fight between Froch-Groves, the challenger, and Froch, the champion. In this fight, we had a discussion with some of our fans on our Facebook page about how this was going to go, because we didn't get a chance to do an actual breakdown video. And in that, we said that Froch-Groves would come out fast, probably be ahead on the scorecards, with Froch showing that determination and veteran grit and pulling out a decision at the end. What we got was probably one of the most controversial stoppages of the year. Froch-Groves was ahead. Froch-Groves was probably hurt in that 9th round in which they stopped the fight, but not to the point where they had to stop the fight. He was still defending himself. He was still moving around. He actually ran into the ref trying to do a defensive move, and the ref stopped the fight. Nobody was happy about it except Froch.
Look here, the stoppage was bullshit. I'm gonna be honest. Now, I'm not too impressed with too many European fighters. But Carl Froch has always found a way to get a win.
Yeah.
In this fight, he was getting beat. He suffered a knockdown in the first round, if I'm not mistaken, where he got caught squared up after George Groves moved to his right and caught him with a counter right. It was a beauty. Now, George Groves, athletic, faster hands, and he's pretty much a dog. I mean, he's going to go in there and fight. In which he did versus Carl Froch. I think he even outdogged Carl Froch throughout. You can see the hunger in this guy's movements and the way he approached this fight. And I love that.
Yeah. I mean, he out-jabbed Carl Froch. I mean, George Groves' right hand couldn't miss. I mean, Carl Froch's face never met a right hand it didn't like. Which, you know, up until only Jermaine Taylor and George Groves have dropped him. So you have to give credit for a good chin, but at the same time, I mean, the guy's a sucker for a right hand. Like, he keeps his left hand down, and he thinks he's pretty slick, but he's getting tagged with right hands. That grit and determination that he has usually bails him out later on. And that and the ref did it this time, but I don't think that either one, like, they both say they want a rematch, but I don't think Groves would want to do that having Carl seen him already. He can adjust, make those veteran adjustments, and probably do a better job in the rematch. And then he's like, see, I told you this guy wasn't that good. And that's not fair to George Groves. We should really show that he was doing a great job in this fight. I mean, he was landing at will. He was doing some excellent feints. He had Carl Froch guessing all night.
That's right.
Carl Froch has a problem dealing with fast, athletic fighters who use their feet, who have quick punches, a la Jermaine Taylor, who was winning that fight up until he got stopped in the very last minute of that fight. Andre Durrell,
That's right.
I thought gave Froch a boxing lesson, and then lost it on the scorecards. And then Andre Ward, who beat the crap out of him with his broken hand. So that should give you, like, he just had his right shoulder repaired, and I don't think he wants to make that fight now. You notice he didn't say anything about Andre Ward this time.
But Carl Froch got old right before our eyes. He's just, I'm not going to call the man, I'm not going to say he's not hungry, but he just went up with a fighter who just wanted it. Carl Froch at this point, and I hate to say this about an older fighter, because if I'm not mistaken, he's about what, 36?
36, yeah.
About 36 years old. He's probably doesn't have a lot of fight stuff, so at this point, gotta look at the money. And unless George Groves is going to bring more money in the UK at this point, he's going to start looking toward a third fight with Kessler, maybe a second fight with Andre Ward. Not going to go that well. Something that can bring something to the table. Like I said, unless George Groves moves on and dominates his next opponent, there might have to be a rematch because of the controversy that surrounded the stoppage. So we'll see. Carl Froch said it. George Groves said it. I think George Groves, to me, really wants it. Carl Froch is like, hey, I saved his career. The ref saved his career. Whatever.
You know, Carl Froch has a mouth. He runs his mouth. He believes everything that he says. And honestly, I don't like it, but I like it. You know, it's like, man, who is this guy? He's not that good, blah, blah. But then he just pulls it out. It's like, how does he do it?
Hey.
But hey, he does it. So we got to give him his props, you know. It's not his fault that the ref stopped. Well, some of his actions led to the stoppage of the fight, but it's not his fault that the ref stopped it before it was time to stop it. Now, of course, his egos are like, yeah, I was letting punches clean, and he should have stopped it because I was going to put him on a stretcher. Hold up, buddy. Pause. I mean, we don't know what would have happened. George Groves could have recovered and maybe knocked out Froch. He could have recovered, had a strong ending to that fight. Could close out and pulled even farther ahead on the scorecards. We don't know that because of what the referee did. And unfortunately, as I was reading online and doing my research and stuff, this is not his first time doing it, and it probably won't be his last. So it's up to the British Board of Boxing Control, BBOC. Yeah. They have to say, hey, they have to either pull the hook on him, or maybe he can pull a CJ Ross and just
Get him out.
step out on his own. But that's all for today, guys. Thanks for watching this video. Make sure you share it with your friends, like it. We'll have it on our Facebook page. We'll have it on YouTube. Like them both. Also, if you haven't liked our Facebook page, find us, facebook.com/capitalcombat. Like it.
And if you have to, you can search it through Hakeem Branch, Rob Jarrell. You'll be able to find it that way as well.
Yeah, and then our YouTube page, youtube.com/capitalcombat, right?
That's right.
Real simple. Go on there, subscribe. That way you won't miss any of our updates. We'll put it on our Facebook page or get it on our YouTube page, but when you subscribe to our YouTube page, you can actually put an option to when we upload the video, it'll send it right to your phone. Like, hey, Capital Combat, new video. There you go, bam.
That's right.
Right there on your phone.
And if you use Google Plus, everything uploads on Google Plus. Check us out, comment, and still share it.
Right. If you got any questions, hit us up on our email, capitalcombat@gmail.com. Hit us up on our Facebook page, and we will answer. So, that's it. Peace.
This is round one, and you've already lost. They don't seem to see that everything we've done is coming and cost. My fists are on fire, I perform till I perspire. My demons are in a rage, keep thinking that it's a game. I kick crime, hurricane. I told them I don't play, I'm liquid.
Black Street Fighter.